basketball. And James, you came from practice earlier. You mentioned talking to KZ Okpala, and he was excited about the opportunity he had. And the question I have for you, was there any hint as to whether that opportunity is going to be there for him again on Sunday when the Kings take the floor?
We talked to Mike Brown, and I kind of got the impression that Mike Brown they're still making a decision on that position, and that we could very well see something different when the Kings take the floor on Sunday. And it wasn't that KZ did something wrong or anything else. I think it's just that they're trying a few things and they want to see how it looks. And that's what preseason is for. You need to try it against other teams and see if it's actually going to function. There's always going to be the problem. I'll keep pointing this out. Like KZ Okpala averaged like 19 points a game at Stanford, and he just hasn't had an opportunity to score in his 3 years in the league. He said he's done it a couple of times, and so yeah, he can score. But in order for this thing to work, KZ has to be able to hit the three ball, and he's got to be able to make sharp cuts. And I think Mike Brown did make the point that he thought like KZ made some nice cuts that either led to one basket for him, or opportunities for his teammates, because anytime someone makes a really strong cut and Sabonis has a ball, it tightens up the defense and opens the spacing on the outside. You just can't have everybody cutting. I think we're going to have to see if they really feel comfortable with that spot. But again, I think we could see Chima Moneke get an opportunity in the starting five. I think we could see Keegan get that opportunity. We're just going to have to wait and see what Mike Brown kind of feels. And I think he's probably got a good idea of how he wants to ramp up over the next 3 games. But, in order for KZ to be there, he's got to be able to do a lot more than just play defense.
Do you think KZ, and it's only one preseason game, I get that, but do you think he kind of established himself as being in the rotation just in general? It may not be starting or whatever the case may be, but do you think he's one of the 10 guys that's going to get consistent minutes in this rotation moving forward?
It's an interesting question. To be honest with you, I don't know. Like when I first started covering the league, it was with Paul Westphal. And I know people used to freak out because one game a guy would start, and then the next game it wouldn't be his backup that got the start. It would be someone else that was out of the rotation that got the start, and that starter would go to the bench and not play at all. And people are always confused by it. And Paul would always say, like, look, first of all, you never start your best 6, which he knew because he spent a lot of his time in the league, even though he made the Hall of Fame, coming off the bench, right? So he said you never start your best 5 players, but also if there's a guy that really like starts playing well in his role off the bench, like he may not look the same when you put him with the starters. So if he's doing well in that role, leave him in that role and swap somebody else out. It might mean an expanded role for somebody off the bench. So if somebody's playing really well in 18 minutes a night and the starter's playing, 28, and you want to switch out the starters, you may change the calculus on, who's playing what type of minutes. It might go up to 24 and 24. But that's where I kind of see this power forward position if they don't just hand it to Keegan Murray. And I don't know if I would even say hand it to if Keegan Murray doesn't just demand with his play that he's a starting power forward moving forward. If it's not Keegan, then I really do believe it could be Trey Lyles, it could be Chimezie Metu, it could be Moneke, it could be KZ Okpala. It's just going to depend on what Mike Brown wants to do. And then if we start seeing Keegan just like thrive so much in that role off the bench, number one, he could stay there for longer than people think. But number two, it could he just gets so good that you have to play him 32 minutes a night, 34 minutes a night. The only way to do that is to really move him into the starting lineup.
In news that's not news, the Kings are exercising the team option for Davion Mitchell for the 2023-2024 season. Again, news that is not news.
Yeah.
But it is news. So there you have it, Davion Mitchell.
Davion Mitchell, everybody.
Real quick, is that trying to think, is that earlier than they've done in recent years?
No, they have to have it done by, I think it used to be October 30th. but yeah, it's right around this time. There's a deadline
Of
that's
the
coming up.
second year?
Yeah, okay, so every first round pick signs a 2-year deal with a third and fourth option. So when
Oh,
you draft a guy,
okay.
he's under contract for 2 years, and then after at the tail end of his after his rookie season, the tail end of the summer, you have
Mhm.
to exercise a contract for his third year. This time next year, they'll have to exercise a contract for the next year,
Gotcha.
and then you either in that third summer you can either extend them or they become a restricted free agent at the end of that fourth year if you extend the qualifying offer.
That's what kind of mixed me up. I always thought they signed a 3-year deal, and then you have to make the team extension for a fourth year. But I didn't know it was a 2-year deal.
Yeah, this is basically where Harry Giles did not get his contract picked up. The
Mhm.
1 year that was a total shock to so many people that he
Mhm.
didn't that the Kings didn't pick up his. I want to say third year. It might have been. They didn't pick up his fourth year. I
Mhm.
yeah
Yeah, it was
yeah
just because he didn't play at all the first year, played a little bit the second year, showed something, and
yeah
they didn't pick up the fourth going into the to his third year or something like that, right?
yeah. Going into his third year, they didn't pick up his fourth, and that was a shocker to a lot of people. So yeah,
But he's not on a roster, is he?
Mm-mm. Not that I know.
no, no.
Uh,
Oh,
As of right now, he's not. I mean, but DeMarcus Cousins isn't on a roster either.
yeah.
So
well, yeah.
no, I understand what you're
Saw
saying.
Demarcus
Yeah,
last night. Saw Demarcus 20 seconds ago with Pete Youngman.
yeah.
Um, I'll piggyback off of Kenny's question a little bit because he's asking if KZ Okpala, earned a spot in the rotation. Did anyone earn anything in this first game?
Yeesh. Um, I don't know. Like if you're judging, like,
Sam Merrill minutes coming our way.
yeah. I mean, I was surprised by Sam Merrill playing pretty substantial minutes with the third unit. I mean, there's so many line changes. I thought that there were some interesting takeaways on that end. I thought that Matthew Dellavedova looked like he may have, if there is a race for a backup for a third point guard,
Yeah.
that he looked better than Quinn Cook, and he looked like he had a control of the offense. He was mature and leading the group on the floor. The team played better with him on the court than I thought they did with Quinn Cook. And so, if there was something there, I would say he looked pretty solid. I thought again the fact that Sam Merrill played before like Kent Bazemore, I thought that was slightly intriguing. Again, Chima Moneke, we keep hearing how much, he's like a favorite of people on the inside and the outside. I thought it was weird that he was with the fourth group and barely played. At the end of the game, and then he got stepped on by Wenyan Gabriel. Yeah, so I don't know that we can make a ton of determinations about anything. It's just like if I was going to say, hey, who had a better game of the two reserve third string point guards, I would say Dellavedova. Yeah, and again, I think Sam Merrill is a guy that's at least intriguing. He can really shoot the ball, and he also doesn't make any mistakes. So when you leave a preseason game this early, like again, 5, 6 days into camp, we've seen other teams turn the ball over like 26, 27 times, and your team turns it over 7.
Yeah.
That's incredibly impressive. Like
Mhm.
everyone was locked in. No one was playing outside of themselves and doing silly things. And I think that was pretty good.
Yeah. I actually, and I agree with what you said earlier about the offense looking a little clunky, the offense itself, but I thought there were a lot of good moments in that game where the ball moved naturally and there was natural pass and relocation from some of these guys and cutting things of that nature. And those are things that they could probably build on. And that I think is a little bit of a good sign because it was just the flow of the offense and the way these guys are going to play. Like not, it wasn't a set. It wasn't, this is what it was just, hey, pass and kick. Oh, dump it off to this guy. I'm going baseline. Let me kick it to the baseline. All this other stuff. Like I did like seeing that. And I thought that was from the first group all the way down to the end as well.
Yeah, it was unselfish play. I think
Mhm.
that's what we saw. We saw guys, like we hear this term, guys playing the right way. That's what it kind of felt like. Everyone was kind of playing the right way. They didn't hit shots, which was an issue. I think they started like 2 of 15 from three. That wasn't good. But
It only
overall,
got marginally better.
yeah,
The
yeah,
3-point shooting did not get much better at all.
no. But that the second half, I mean, they were so good in the second half where they outscored them like 64-29 or something. And in the third quarter, it was they only gave up 13 points. Fourth quarter, they only gave up 16 points. So, yeah, I think that like the team is building something. It's at least intriguing right now what we're seeing. But of course, we didn't see any like signature plays in that first game, and that's just because they are really just trying to figure each other out still.
Yeah.
Anyone we're not talking enough about?
Um, I mean, I thought like Sabonis had a really quiet night. And Herter is one of those guys that you just kind of overlook because he doesn't do anything wrong either. He's always in position. He's always staying in front of guys. And then he's always ready to shoot the three ball. Yeah, I don't think so. Like I think that the team is like you can kind of see the first and second unit like form like instantly, and I think the only variable in that first and second unit, well, I'd say there's two. It's how much does a guy like Trey Lyles play, just because he's kind of like the 8.5 or 9.5 man, and then is KZ Okpala the guy who's going to start, or will it be someone else? I think outside of that, still we understood the 8 guys coming in, and it's still the 8 guys coming out of that first game that we kind of know are going to be there and play a lot.